So now we are trying to add an intro screen to our game of Pong, and the way that that's going to happen, if you look through the tutorial, is we are going to add another loop to our game. So this loop down here is our game loop, right? So the one that we've been working on this whole time, and what we're going to do is add a new loop to the top of it. And the way that this loop is going to work is it's going to print out the title screen and the starting background image, and it's going to detect when you click onto the screen. And when you do click on the screen, it's going to set this variable to false, which was set to true, right? And it's going to set it to false, which means when it comes back up into the while loop, it's going to go to false, and it's not going to do this anymore. It's just going to continue working down, and it's going to go right into our play loop, which is our Pong game playing. So the way that I like to look at it is we drop into, when the game first starts, intro and player equal to true. We drop into the intro loop, and it intros with the title screen. Once I click, our code is going to detect the click, and it's going to set intro to false, which means we drop out of this intro loop, and we're going to drop right into the play loop, and it's going to play the game. And if you're kind of thinking forward a little bit, the ending is also going to be another loop. So right here in the play loop, you're going to detect whether or not a player has won, the left player or the right player, and it's going to set play equal to false, which means you're going to drop out of the play loop, and you're going to drop right into the outro loop, and it's going to print out player 1 has won, or player 2 has won. So that's what we're going to do. So let me go ahead. I know I say don't copy and paste, but it's just so easy to do it. So let me just go ahead and copy this guy and come into my code. It's going to be right before our while loop. I'm going to paste that in, and there are no underscore reds, so it looks like there's no invisible characters going on. You could see that my previous loop used the true variable, the true value. Instead, I'm going to replace that. So I'm going to say intro is equal to play is equal to outro, because eventually we're going to have an outro loop as well. And I'm going to set those all to true. And I'm going to use intro here, and I'm going to use play here. And you can see that I'm not using my outro yet, so my outro is gray. Gray means this variable is not being used. So now what else? Well, we have this FPS, but we can go ahead and just replace that with 60. Or alternatively, you can make an FPS variable. Right? So I'm going to say FPS is equal to 60. And if you have forgotten, the clock tick, whatever number you put in there is going to limit the number of iterations this while loop can run at. And so if you're running on a gaming machine that has like a 1060 graphics card, which is a graphics card that costs like $400, then this while loop is going to run at like 1,000 times a second, all right? Because your computer's really fast. And then on the other side, if you're using an old computer, then this while loop max can run at maybe like 30 ticks a second or 30 times a second. Either way, if you put a number in here, it's going to regularize how many times the while loop can run. We want it at 60 because every time into the while loop we are printing to the screen, and 60 frames a second is a good number, right? So let's go FPS right there. So we're doing 50 frames a second. And then we need to detect the click, right? Well, let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. What does this code have at the moment? We're going to come in here, it's going to drop into the while loop because this is true. We're going to fill the screen with white, and then we're going to check if the exit button has been pressed. The exit button is the red button on the top left corner, and then we're going to burn to the screen, or blit to the screen, burn to the screen. And then we're going to continue that over and over and over again. So what we should see is a white screen. So I'm going to run that, and it runs, right? White screen. If I click on the screen, nothing happens because I haven't coded that yet. My Pong title is not there. My blinking click here is not going because I haven't coded that. But what I have coded is the red button being pressed. Okay, good, that works. So now let's come on back, and I guess blitting the title is the next section, so I'll save what I have to say for that.